Hello there, and in this video we are going to be doing what should hopefully be a fairly quick job on my Volvo V70. Now, if you've watched the video I did recently on the XC90, you'll know that I bought a top-down Topscan, and as part of that I reset various warnings on it, the airbag warning, and went through all the codes. After doing that, I also had a bit of a play with the V70 because I've had kind of a suspicion for a while that it's not been running quite right. I've had a feeling that it's either, maybe it has a clogged catalytic converter or a slight miss, but there was something there that I couldn't put my finger on. There was nothing codes-wise in the engine, but when I went and had a look at the live data, I discovered this. I've effectively got a very slight misfire on coil number 5. Way to solve this? Well, I bought a new ignition coil. It's a Bosch unit, should be matched to the one I've got. And today what we're going to do in this horrible weather is swap this coil over. Slightly different approach today. I don't have my usual microphone set up, and I'm going to have a go at shooting POV, so if things aren't in view or the sound's terrible, I do apologise. But this is something I'm keen to experiment with because, well, really, because not many other people do it, so I want to see how well this works and whether or not this is a format I can use going forwards. First thing we'll do, we'll pop and zip on it. Oh, I've left me ODB2 slot open from another plane. Like I say, I will show you the live data from the car in a little bit more detail afterwards, but first thing we need to do is get this cover off, which is going to involve finding the tools. Right, so I'll make a start by removing these T30 Torx. Okay, now the boost pipe is in the way of getting the last few fasteners out and the cover off. However, it's pretty straightforward. You've got two T25 Torx, and then all I'll do is I'll just move this ever so slightly out of the way. That's not going to fit in there. Plan B. I really didn't want to do that. Oh no. Please say the bit is still on the end. Oh, thank God for that. Right, will that go on there? Just. All this because I can't find my proper T25 socket. I might need to try and find my T25 socket, I think. I don't think I'm going to get that undone with this. Might have to see if I can cheat and use a T20. I'll retrieve that in a moment because this is all going wrong. There you go. Raining and things are going hubnut. Okay, so that's that out, and that just gives you just enough flexibility to get at those two fasteners there. Try not to do what I did last time I did this. I took the covers off to inspect the coils not that long ago, and I wound up dropping one of the bolt covers right down into the engine bay, which was annoying. We should be able to just lift these covers off. So there's a clip on the front and a clip on the back for this side. And down there. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. There we go. That lifts that cover off. That gives you a chance as well to have a look at your cam belt if you've got one of these petrol P2s. See how things look. Mine looks okay. No evidence of any oil leaks or anything like that, so that's good. Alright, let's get this cover off, which is still a little bit of a faff, even with the boost pipe in place, I think. If I remember correctly, I think if you take the oil cap off, yeah, it just gives you just that extra little bit of clearance to do the job without having to mess about removing the charge cooler pipe. Let's put that back on for now so I don't get any rain in there. Right, so ignition coils on these engines numbered 1 to 5. One being the number 1 being the one closest to the cam, and number 5 being the one closest to the gearbox. And the ignition coil that we had that was showing the fault was number 5. So next step is to get that undone, and I think, if memory serves me, this will be held in with an 8mm bolt. Memory serves me wrong, that is a 10. God damn it. Yes, my micrometer failed me there. It was indeed a 10mm. Crack this loose. Get this bolt out. In an ideal world I would change all of these, but I'm not sure what's happening with this car at the moment, so I'm just doing the core maintenance that I think it needs. Okay, so with that out, you'll probably be able to see, or hopefully you'll be able to see, there's a little plastic retainer and a tab there, so you just want to push on the back of that and lift that up, and then the connector should just slide off, he says. Cylinder number 5, by the way, is probably the most awkward one to get to, which is sod's law. Obviously you don't want to pull on the wires if you can at all avoid it. There we go, so that little connector's out, and then the ignition coil should just pull straight out of the hole. There we go, one ignition coil. So like I say, this is the one that was showing an occasional miss. So next step obviously is to go and compare this to the spare I've got and make sure that they look the same and they're going to fit. Okay, so I'll do this comparison under the cover of the boot of the XC90. So that's my existing ignition coil. Just a quick look at it. So part number 912561. It's an original Volvo coil, and I believe, yeah, made by Bosch. And you can see there's a Bosch part number on there as well. So let's have a look at what I've ordered. So I bought this from Parts in Motion. So they generally do look pretty darn similar to me there. Right, so it looks like there is a Bosch part number on there, or 2 Bosch part numbers. So I can see a 050 on one side, but more crucially I can see a number that says 0221 604 001. And that matches the number on this old coil here. So I'm happy enough that those two match, and that this is, or rather that one is, the right ignition coil to put back in the car. So as it's drizzling, I'm going to get this in fairly quickly, and then we might pull back the boot on this one and see if we can figure out why it's causing me a problem. And you know the old expression, refitting is the reversal of removal. So first things first, I'll line that up. So I think, yeah, it goes in that sort of way. I need to get that on top of the sparky plug. Just push that connector out the way. I'm hoping it is the coil, by the way, and not a wiring loom fault, because that's going to put me in a bad place if it is. Let's get the connector reconnectored. Click. Obviously these need to be pressed down firmly, but they, you are putting a thread into an aluminium head, so it does not need to be stupidly tight. Right, get these covers reinstated. Just make sure I'm happy with where that's sitting and routed, and it's not sitting anywhere strange. It does look like it's clicked in all the way. Take that oil cap off again, just to ease the transition of that over into its hole. Put it back on so we don't get any rain in the engine bay. I was thinking about doing the brakes on this car today as well on the front. I think given the weather, that's now no longer on the cards, frankly. Yeah, I fitted the cam belt with Sean last year, and it still seems to, it does ride a little bit over on that cam there, but I've not had any problems. So £1,000 car, going to leave it alone and just drive it for now. Just drive it for now. It's like I say, we've still got a few questions over the gearbox, which hopefully by now I've put that video out. It probably will ultimately need a proper gearbox rebuild, but for now it's working well enough. Apologies if you hear any barking dogs, by the way. The National Dog Barking Symphony are out again in force, despite the fact that it's raining. So you would think the poor little blighters would be inside. getting to the point where I need to treat myself to some new tools, including some wobbly bits. I want some wobbly bits just to make little jobs like this a tiny bit easier. Yes, I think it was a lovely evening yesterday as well, and I looked outside and went, no, I'll do this tomorrow. Yes, I do wish I had a larger garage to do work like this a little bit more dry. I do have a fairly large garage, it's just full of junk and a Citroen BX. I think I might have to make some changes, because I could get 2 Citroen BX sized cars in my garage if I was just a bit more organised and had a shed to store some of my other crap, so I think that might be what I have to do. Right, so what I have to do now, sort those charge pipe bits out. Come on, I'm getting wet now. Yeah, all there is to do now is, one, clear the engine bay of tools, and then we will fire it up, see how it runs, and see whether or not I still have a problem with cylinder number 5. Okay, so please ignore the glamour of the wet trousers. We're going to get the Topscan ready to go. I think that's the correct way up. There we go, got a beep. Let's fire it up and see how it sounds. Turn the radio off so I don't get a copyright strike. Horrible noises from the catalytic converter aside. It seems to have fired up okay. Still sounds a little uneven, but then again these things always do. The other problem I've got with this, unfortunately, you might be able to hear around the back, is I've got a very blowy back box. That's another job that needs sorting out at some point. Anyway, I'm going to let this settle down for a minute, finish my cup of hot brown, and then we'll have a look at the misfire data and see whether or not I've still got a problem. Okay, so that's it settled down into its usual idle, which certainly sounds alright to me. That sounds sweet enough. I'm going to close this bonnet now to make sure there's nothing hiding under there. It shouldn't be, I don't think there is. And we'll go and have a look at some scan data and see whether or not I've still got a problem. Let's get down to the misfire. Oh, interesting. I still have misfires on cylinder number 5. Bum. So one possibility is that there's deposits and crap on that plug if it's not been right. But it's interesting because where it's showing the misfire, I think, is where I've been picking up on something which is kind of motorway-ish speed. I think what I might do, I'm going to go to an event tomorrow in this car, unless I'm completely mad and I choose to go in the XC90, which I'm kind of 50-50 on at the moment. But if I do, I might leave the top down running and keep an eye on that misfire counter whilst I'm driving and just see what I pick up on. I say the other possibility is that there is just some crap or deposits on the plug that need to be cleaned off now that that coil is working a bit more efficiently. So it might even be that if I drive it, this might sort itself out. I'm going to leave this going for a little bit. I'm going to stop recording. I'm just going to let the car idle for a bit and we'll see whether or not we get any more misfires. Okay, so I've just reset the drive cycle and just given it another quick restart. That looks like it resets these misfire counter numbers as soon as you turn the ignition on and off. So I'm just keeping an eye on things now just to see if we get any more. But yeah, that's weird. That makes me think maybe there was nothing wrong with that coil and it's something else. It could be wiring, it could be plugs. I'm going to whip the boot off the other plug now, I think, and just have a look at it just to see if it's got any cracking or anything in. At least I know it's functional, so I can keep one spare coil in the car, which is never a bad thing anyway. But yeah, maybe there's something else going on here that I need to look into. I'm just curious as to why it's only showing misfires on cylinder number 5. That really does suggest that there's something not quite right. Seems happy enough now. I say at one point it was stacking up the misfires quite quickly. I'm going to monitor this and we'll see what happens. If I still feel what I feel in the car, then I think it's perhaps time for the rest of the coils to be done and another set of plugs. Basically, I mean, this car could do with a full stage 0 tune, as it's called, which is new plugs, new ignition coils. But I think, as I've said in the past, this isn't a prime example of a P2. Frankly, neither is that, so I'm 2 for 2 on that front at the moment. But yeah, let's go and take the boot off that other ignition coil now and see what it looks like. Okay, so just have a quick look at this ignition coil, and there are, you may not be able to see it on the GoPro, but there are little cracks, certainly in the upper housing there. I don't know how straightforward it is to get this, to peel this boot back and see how things look further down. Don't know if it will cause the springy bit to come off. I don't want to make this coil unusable, basically. Let's see if I can just roll back this rubber bit. Okay. Oh no, there we go. So yeah, I mean it's intact. It doesn't look like it was arcing. There is quite a long crack down it actually. So yeah, going from there all the way down past that coil part there and down into there. I will take a picture of it and include it now just so that you can see. Yeah, it is. The ignition coil is actually cracked right down and towards the boot. I mean, it's not likely to arc out of the boot. I suppose that's the whole point. The boot is there, but it does mean that this ignition coil is probably towards the end of its life. And if they are all the original Volvo ones, then yeah, I'm not surprised really that they're at the end of their life. But as it stands, it is a sort of get you home serviceable spare by the looks of things, because I'm not 100% convinced that that is the root cause of what I was noticing on the scan data. So yeah, I think all we can do now is drive it and see. Am I going to regret doing that? I might regret doing that. Right, I'll sort that rubber boot out off camera because I don't want to ruin that spring. But yeah, like I say, unfortunately, that is not quite as comprehensive a diagnostic and confirmation as I'd hoped for. Why are cars always so ungrateful when you try and do work to them? I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to leave that one there. Like I say, I've not decided which of the 2 cars I'm taking tomorrow to the Volvo 240 event. If I had even half a brain, it would be that one, because although that one's not running perfectly, I do know it quite well. The XC90, there should be a couple of videos out now about it, but I still don't know it all that well, so there is more stuff to do on it. So yeah, I might give this a clean up and take this one tomorrow, and if I do, I'll include a little clip on the end of this video reading scan data, perhaps at the event, just to see if I'm still getting that misfire or not. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please do consider subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in a future video where I'll be working on one of these 3 things, or at a show. Cheerio! He gets everywhere, that hobnob bloke. And that one does. And that one does. And that one does. Oh, let's not talk about him.